What's up, everybody? It's me, it's the B.O.B., and I'm here with the solo edition of Around the Table with Big Bob and the Maestro. Maestro, just want to throw some prayers up for him first off, going through some things. Hopefully be back next week. Love you, man. Uh, this week, over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, actually wanted to break down the SimWorld U Season 4, how I personally think the season is gonna turn out for each conference. And I'm gonna start off with what I believe is the overall. I hate to say these kinds of things about teams that are filled with kids, but what I think is probably the worst conference in SimWorld U heading into season 4, and that is the Mountain West Conference. Last season, UNLV took the crown. Nat Hawkins, he absolutely dominated from start to finish. Uh, Considered one of the, if not the best player by a lot of people throughout the entire season. He's gone. And does that mean UNLV goes with him? Uh, Not necessarily. They lose Nat Hawkins, lose Kessler Burdett, who really was a non-factor for that team. They bring in Alan Catchings and Zoe Dorn. I don't think are going to really be too much of impact players uh, in their freshman years at UNLV. They do have Drell Beauchamp, who I think is going to be an absolute superstar for this team and when he makes it to the SWBA, but it's going to be really hard to replace Hawkins' productivity with just one player. They got Montel Cage, great defender, not going to pick it up on the offensive side of the ball. I don't see UNLV picking up the Mountain West crown again next season. I don't necessarily even really think I'm going to see them in the top 2. Top 3 is a stretch, but I think the conference overall is so bad that UNLV could still finish in the top 3, but we are going to see a new winner next season in SimWorld Season 4 for the Mountain West, which brings me to the team that finished second last season. That was San Diego State. Uh, Finished 22-12, 9-4 in the conference. They're bringing in Benjamin Alexander, Kenzo Webb-Storm, both players who didn't necessarily live up to the hype that we expected them to this past season in SimWorld Prep. They do lose their leading scorer in Platts. Again, losing another non-factor for this team, Garth Hubler. Just really a non-factor. They really are going to need Darian Hunt and Lucina Traore to step it up. I don't see them. I don't see any of them stepping up, and the loss of Platts is going to be, in my opinion, too much for San Diego State to overcome. I see them dropping. I see them dropping pretty far in the Mountain West. Obviously, once they hit the court, things will change. Obviously, the players that are still there are going to grow. Darian Hunt and Lucina could both prove me wrong. But I just, right now, with the way that this team is made up, San Diego State, I think they're going to be in the bottom half of this conference next season. They move along to New Mexico State. They add in Jordan Casau, Jay Mills, Nick Murray from SimWorld Prep. They do lose their leading scorer as well, Damari Gray. They lose Tayshawn Hutcherson. He was averaging 5.9 points a game for them last season. Taz Cooper was averaging over 12 points. He returns. I think this team will surprise, and I think it's going to be because of Jordan. I personally believe that he was underutilized with SimWorld Africa. He averaged 7.5 points a game, and I really feel like he could have done a lot more for them and helped them out a lot more. Maybe it just wasn't a good fit. But I do think at the next level, I think he could potentially turn into one of the stars on this team offensively. I think that he can help this team improve. And again, they were top 3 last season. They finished number 3 behind UNLV and San Diego State. I think they could potentially stay there. But again, too many question marks for UNLV, like, are they better than UNLV? With Nat Hawkins leaving, maybe. Um, but Beauchamp's still there, maybe not. But New Mexico State, I don't. I see them maybe staying around where they were, or moving maybe a spot. There's not going to be too much drastic change, but I don't see them winning. I don't see them coming close to winning the Mountain West. Speaking of winning the Mountain West, um, I believe that there is only one team that I can absolutely, with no doubt, say this team is going to win the Mountain West next season, and it's going to be St. Mary's. They finished fourth last season in the Mountain West, but players like Kai Newby really stepped up at the end of the season. They still have Dime Hardaway. Terrell Coulter returns. He is also a very, very good player. And Brendan Romine. They bring in Armand Green, Trent Rivera from SimWorld Prep. They bring in Marshawn Wise-Toms. Uh, Players that I'll be surprised if they are averaging more than 5 minutes a game next season. Um, Especially with Armand Green bringing in his zero point 0.4 points per game. But I think that uh, I really, really think that the players that they still have, Dime Hardaway, I think, is going to take a big step. Kai Newby, I love Kai Newby in SimWorld Prep. He was huge for SimWorld Asia Pacific. Uh, I think that the overall core that this St. Mary's team returns, I see them being a 20-win team. I see them absolutely dominating the Mountain West. Last season, best record overall was San Diego State with 22-12. I see St. Mary's maybe sticking to the single digits in losses. UNLV won the conference 11-3. I think St. Mary's can improve on that in SimWorld Season 4. I really do. Again, I just think this from top to bottom. I I think you have the top, who is St. Mary's, and then you got a in the next team I'm going to talk about, and then all the rest are in the bottom. It's just, again, I hate to say that about kids. There are teams that are focused on kids, but I just don't see a ton of talent that can take any of these teams to the next level in SimWorld Season 4. That next team that I'm talking about, Gonzaga. Caden Ship is going to be a huge loss for this team. They do have Damian Luffy, who, again, just like Beauchamp, former teammates, Luffy and Beauchamp. I think that Luffy has a chance to be a superstar. And I think he's going to have to be, not even a question, night in and night out, a 20-point scorer for this team, for Gonzaga to be able um, to stay where they are or move up. I know 20 points is pushing it a little bit, but I think that Luffy can do it. But again, conference is so bad. I'll try and stop saying that. I promise. Uh, but I do think that Luffy, along with Beauchamp, are going to contend for Mountain West Player of the Year. So it'll be, I think, Gonzaga and St. Mary's facing off with those two former teammates. It coming down to which one of them are going to be the best player in the conference. Um, Again, they added Liang Cheng. He was averaging 9.6 points a game. He was tied for the lead with SimWorld Asia Pacific with Oliver West this past season, but I think that's going to help out a little bit, but you can't rely so much on freshmen. Gonzaga, I think, will finish in the top three of the Mountain West without a doubt, because the next three teams, I believe the next three teams that I'm going to talk about, it's a battle of who's going to have the worst record in the Mountain West. I'll start with Boise State. They lose Carmelo Looper. He was averaging 4.9 points a game, 14.9 points per game for them. He's gone. They already weren't the greatest team in the world. They finished 11-19. Losing Looper is going to be huge. They bring in Zaire Higdon from Run DMV. That gives them a little bit of size that they don't necessarily have. He's 6'10", but he couldn't move up that depth chart with Run DMV. He was third as a center, and them prep teams, they don't have a whole lot of centers. So the team that had three centers and he couldn't move up, that was rough. So I think Boise State, this might be the worst team in the Mountain West next season. I don't see a whole lot of positive on this team. Again, they're going through another off season. They're going to grow together. They're going to build that chemistry together. I just don't think that the additions outweigh the subtractions. And Looper is going to be a huge, huge loss for this team. Um, and I guess we'll see if they're able to battle it out with Colorado State and Nevada. Colorado State, again, they lost a couple players that didn't really contribute a whole lot. Abar Washington, Mitchum, Chappell, just not a whole lot of production from them. Giselle Wright Johnson returns, and he was the only bright spot on this Colorado State team, in my opinion. Uh, he averaged 17.1 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, 2 assists. He is going to be probably in that top three with Beauchamp and Luffy on the Mountain West Player of the Year contender. So I think that him alone, he's going to help keep Colorado State out of the very, very bottom of the Mountain West Conference. But I just don't know if it's going to be enough to get them into the upper half of the Mountain West Conference. Sometimes it does just take one person. You look at Iowa and what they did with Sherwood. That one player can make a significant difference, and you saw it when he wasn't there. The losses piled up. Um, the same could be said for Wright Johnson. He's going to be there. He's going to lead them to wins, but I don't know if he can do it alone with the talent around him. The talent that goes to an Iowa compared to the talent that goes to a Colorado State, significantly different. Can't compare. So we'll see. I get Colorado State not going to be the worst team in the conference, but we'll see if Giselle can take him up to the next level by himself. Uh, Only time will tell. And finally, Nevada, the worst team this past season, 8-23 overall, 2-12 in the conference. Um, it was a, it was. There's not a lot to say about Nevada. The additions and the subtractions are relevant in my opinion. They add Eric Guerrero, Kai Yamato. They lose Ethan Hawker. I'm sorry. Um, they do return Marcellus Blow and Corwin Thomason. I do think that those two returning, I'm going to go against what I just said. I just wanted to take a little shot at Nevada, saying there's not a lot to talk about. I think with Blow and Thomason returning, that this team is going to improve. They're going to get double-digit wins. They're going to be better than Boise State. Uh, if you have those two players who are very consistent and reliable, you can see Nevada moving up a little bit. But I see them being one of the three, Colorado State, Nevada, and Boise State. They're going to be battling out for that last spot in the Mountain West Conference. Uh, Wrapping this all up, I think what I'm feeling right now, and my gut is telling me, St. Mary's is going to win the conference. Gonzaga is going to be 2. UNLV is going to be 3. New Mexico, jeez, words can't do them very often. New Mexico State at number 4. San Diego State at number 5, Colorado State at 6, Nevada at 7, and Boise State rounding out that bottom with sitting at number 8. Things can always change, but again, I want to say St. Mary's, I think they're the clear-cut number 1 in this conference. Gonzaga, I believe they're the clear-cut number 2, and I just think after that, it's a bunch of teams with maybe one player who can change the complete outcome of their season. But is that one player enough with the talent that is around them or not around them? So I do think St. Mary's, I think that, again, Coulter, Hardaway, Newby, just those 3 returning, huge, 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 huge. I think that puts them on top, double-digit wins, over 20 wins, I believe, for this team. I think that they can potentially keep it to single-digit losses if they play their cards right. But yeah, let me know what you think. Who do you think wins next season? Do you think that UNLV can overcome Nat Hawkins going? Can Gonzaga potentially win the Mountain West with the loss of Caden Shipp? Or is St. Mary's overall, their teamwork, just too much for anybody else to overcome? And can Boise State make it out of the basement? We'll see. Let us know below. Maestro, miss you. Hope everything's going better. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.